Money is one of the greatest and most successful fictions in human history. For centuries, it has been presented to us as a neutral, natural, and indispensable tool. In reality, however, money has always been the language of power, the fuel of wars and the invisible architect of social order. From the temple debt records of Mesopotamia to Rome's silver denarius, from medieval kings' debt forgiveness schemes to the monetary policies of modern central banks, this long story revolves around a single question: who controls power, and who pays the price for it? History books tell us about the rise of empires through armies, heroes, and conquests. What they usually conceal is this: no empire has ever collapsed without first collapsing financially. The Roman Empire did not begin to fall because of barbarian invasions, but because the value of its money was systematically hollowed out. Coins with reduced silver content made soldiers' wages meaningless, paralyzed trade, and, most dangerously, destroyed social trust. Today, we call this process inflation. Back then, it was framed as a temporary necessity or for the survival of the state. This is where the first great myth is born. Money loses value because times are hard. The historical truth is far more unsettling. Money loses value because those in power consciously choose to pass the cost of debt and crisis onto the public. In the Middle Ages, when kings could not repay their debts, they debased the currency, reducing the precious metal in coins. In the modern world, the same function is performed by interest rate manipulation, monetary expansion, perpetual borrowing, and so-called controlled inflation policies. The names change, the narrative becomes modern, the language more technical, but the mechanism remains the same. Financial systems are presented to us as promises of stability, trust, and prosperity. Yet throughout history, their primary function has not been to eliminate crises, but to make them manageable, postponable, and invisible. Crises are not destroyed, they are stretched over time and redistributed. And the winners of this redistribution are always those closest to the system. This is why financial history is not a romantic tale of the past, but a mental self-defense manual for individuals. The debt cycles, credit dependency, and constantly normalized economic uncertainty we experience today are simply modern versions of a game that has been played many times before. When ancient empires raised taxes, people revolted. When modern states increase debt, it is called growth, stimulus, or expansionary policy. But the outcome never changes. Labor gradually loses value. Purchasing power erodes. Wealth concentrates in an ever-narrowing center. And to hide the fragility it creates, the system becomes more complex, more technical, and more incomprehensible. As complexity increases, questioning decreases. This is the system's strongest defense mechanism. History makes one thing clear. No monetary order has ever been permanent. The gold standard collapsed, imperial currencies vanished, paper money has been reset countless times, and systems once declared too strong to fail have all ended up in the dusty pages of history. The financial structures considered untouchable today are part of the same cycle. The only real debate is which stage of the cycle we are currently in. That is why knowing the past is not nostalgic curiosity. It is mental insurance against the future. Financial literacy is not merely about making more money. It is about recognizing manipulation, filtering out myths, questioning the story the system tells you, and accurately understanding your own position within it. Throughout history, the losers were not those who failed to understand what was happening, but those who were not allowed to understand it. The winners were those who could read the power behind money, the language of debt, and the silent rules of the system. Because history does not only tell us what happened in the past. It also whispers what is likely to repeat in the future. And for those who can hear that whisper, knowledge is not a luxury, it is one of the most essential tools for surviving the modern world, thinking independently, and avoiding financial vulnerability. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos.